day to you again, and welcome to another edition of Facing the Nation. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you much for joining us. Thank you very much for joining us for another, what it promises to be another very informative program. As you know, we usually split the program into two. We usually deal with two issues. Today is no different. I'll be dealing with two issues, of course. As you know, the 8th of March would have been observed as, and this is around the world, International Women's Day. So I'm going to be talking about girls and women today in the first half of the program. On the second half of the program, I know some of you would have seen it in the news, but people would have been asking to see the ceremony where a new water system was launched in the Sophia area. Not only a new water system, but a road was commissioned, and people would have been asking to see the ceremony in its entirety. Unfortunately, on Facing the Nation, we don't have enough time for that. Some of you would have seen it on my YouTube channel. That's the ceremony in its entirety. But what I'll be doing today is bringing you two presentations. The first one would have been from Dr. Van West Charles. As you know, he is the CEO of the Guyana Water Incorporated. And the second presentation is from Minister Patterson, who is the Minister of Public Infrastructure. That's Minister, the Honorable David Patterson. So that's what's going to be happening in the second half of the program. But for now, we're talking about girls and women. And I thought it fitting to, because usually when we talk about women in society, we go for the older folks and sometimes what we like to call is the more experienced folks in terms of the ministers and the grown women who are in charge of certain organizations and so on. But today, I thought it fit to talk to a young lady who has done a lot. She's been in the public eye and she's done a whole lot in terms of standing up for human rights. This time, she's focusing on girls and women. It is my pleasure to welcome to this program for the first time Miss Akola Thompson. Welcome to you, Akola.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me here.
Wonderful to have you. And even before she continues, she is the co-founder of Student Society Against Human Rights. For those of you who have never heard of that, you'll be hearing a lot, that body, which is, it really is a shame. If you haven't heard of it, you'll be hearing a lot about it today on this program. So thank you so much for coming on Facing the Nation.
Now, the Student Society Against Human Rights Violation was started late last year because I'm a third-year student at university, and my entire student life there has been no real activist groups. So because we saw the lack of that, and universities are usually the space where activism thrives, and I don't know, for some reason that is just not a UG. So that's why we decided, myself and Diana Cruikshank, we decided to form our own group. And it's been tough in getting members. We have a few members, but because I don't know, there seems to be a lot of youth participation in activism. So it's been tough having to get some programs off the ground that we would like to see done because we just lack the manpower to do it. Yeah.
Why do you believe that there seems to be a lack? And it's interesting because the name of your group says it, Student Society Against Human Rights. We live every day where we see, and this is not only about, in this case, it's not only about women and girls. We live every day in a society where we see human rights violations. Why do you believe that people seem to be a bit apprehensive to to use your word, manpower to this cause?
Now, the problem is kind of multifaceted, but to put it one way is just the culture that we've become so desensitized to everything that we don't really see the need to actively pursue justice or equality or stuff like that, because it's just, there's a culture of violence. And so, for instance, if you see a neighbor beating a woman, you might say, okay, maybe this is wrong, but you won't actively get involved because, you've just come to accept it as part of the society you live in, right? So that's one of the reasons I believe that we have so few people actively out there. And it goes towards changing our entire culture. And that, of course, is not an easy task.
It's going to take time for that, indeed. All right, let's talk about... Before we even talk some more about the society of itself, the group of itself, you're having a March for Girls. Am I correct? It's called March for Girls.
Yes.
Tomorrow. Let's talk about that, what prompted that, and what people can expect and what can we take away from such an activity.
Okay, now I don't know if you would have known about it, but in the recent months there's been a hashtag going around, Life in Leggings. Now, the Life in Leggings hashtag was created by Ronell King in Barbados, and it was meant to kind of bring attention to the prevalence of domestic and sexual abuse in the Caribbean. And from the popularity of the hashtag, we can see that it is very prevalent, right? So what kind of prompted us for the march was that we would have seen the Life in Leggings movement. They would have had simultaneous marches. All are happening tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Okay.
And we weren't exactly a sister march, but we decided to do one in solidarity with them because we were in support of their movement. So when we would have began to do outreaches and social media and so on, then Ronell would have reached out to me and asked us to be the sister leg of the march. So we're the official, the local organizers for the Life in Leggings march here.
Okay.
But the main reason, initially it was just in solidarity to kind of bring attention to our own issues here. That's why our platform is kind of different from the other Caribbean countries. Because while they focus mainly, all of it is on gender-based violence, we also will be using the platform for things such as LGBT rights and comprehensive sex education, because these are all interconnected issues in the culture of violence. Yeah, so that was basically it. We just wanted a platform where we can not only bring attention to the issue, but for victims and survivors to kind of use it to tell us what we can do as a society to help kind of lessen the amount of these violations. Yeah.
Okay, viewers, I must tell you that I find this to be very interesting, and you know me, I'm pro-youth, I'm pro-woman, I'm pro-youth, and I must stress the fact that she's young and the group is taking on this task, and the fact that young people recognize that there are problems in society, that we can do so much in terms of getting involved to try to, if not eradicate completely, but at least try to stem the prevalence. Let's talk about the march specifically. What is going to be happening tomorrow, where, time, and all of that?
Okay, so the march begins at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Not Guyanese time, actual 3 p.m.
I still don't know what is Guyanese time apart from what the clock says, but I understand.
Yeah, so 3 p.m. we start at Stabrook Market Square, and then we will be marching along Brick Dam to Square of the Revolution, which is Coffee. Quite a pull, so
yes.
So make sure you walk with comfortable shoes. So at the march itself, after it, we will be having some speakers. We have Nadia Segar, Patricia Sherton is not from GRPA, and we also be having survivors. And I don't know if you would have known about Twinkle Bassoon. She was very instrumental in the cross-dressing case that we had recently. So she'll also be a speaker there talking about some of the issues that trans people face. What we will be having also, we'll be having someone from the... God, I forgot the name. We'll be having...
It will come.
Yeah, we'll be having someone from one of these karate schools, and they'll be coming to do a brief self-defense session.
Nice.
Yeah, because while we want to tell people that you should not you should not be violent, we also want to encourage a more proactive approach, where that if it does happen, and we have to defend. It does happen, right? So when it does happen, you'll be able to defend yourself and not just be dependent on someone's goodwill.
Yeah. So far, I'm sure you've done a lot to put this march out there and the purpose and goals and so on. Have you find that you've gotten the support, especially, and I know why, I keep stressing young people. Most of these things greatly affect the younger people, because not only because of lack of experience, but a whole lot of other issues. That the fact is that these times now are different to when our parents and grandparents grew up, and the challenges, I believe, are greater. Have you found that in terms of the march itself, that you're getting the support of young people? They're in a sense gravitating toward not only the march but the cause and everything else surrounding it?
Yeah, I was a bit worried. I was getting anxious for a while there, but then it really began to pick up, and majority of the responses I see, and all have been most of them have been very positive. And majority of them are from young people. We do, of course, have a lot of people from civil societies and so on who tend to be a lot in the years. But majority of the people who have been showing their support and excitement for the march are young people. So I think that this will be an opportunity to not only bring attention to certain issues, but will also be opportunity for young people to see that we can actively do something to make a difference in society.
Okay, Akola, this time, is there anything that you would like? And again, viewers, this is because most things are, especially government ministries, they're controlled by that, and we try to look to them for partnership and so on. At this time, is there anything that you would possibly call on government, more so Ministry of Social Protection, not only to aid you in and aid the group in this cause, but addressing women's issues in general?
Well, the problem with a lot of government ministries, particularly the Ministry of Social Protection, is that too often I think they operate in this hub, right? Where we just keep talking about things, but we're not actually doing anything, right? In terms of what I would like to see, I'm not sure if they have any. I've been searching a lot, but I'm not sure if they actually have any rape survivors, say, residents. Because, a lot of the time whenever these incidents happen, and then you have to go to the police station, and you don't really have any other avenues other than that. So if we can have such a place, because we have to be mindful that we don't further violate these people that have already been violated, right? And it does tend to happen, particularly when they go to the police station. And I really think we need to do some serious training in the police force, right?
And you see, and the thing is, I like the fact that she brought up that, because that is not a secret. We've been complaining all along that the police, our police, whether male or female, they're not properly trained to deal with victims of domestic violence. People go and to repeat some of Akola's sentiments. It's like you become an even bigger victim there just by going and saying that, I was sexually assaulted, whether it be sexually assaulted or in the case of violence against women and so on. So, yes, I agree with you, and I hope they're hearing. Before I have to wrap up my conversation with you, what else can we expect from student society against human rights, even after the march is completed and so on tomorrow?
One of the things that we'll be doing at the march is that, because we wanted this to be a platform for survivors and allies and civil societies to tell us what we can do to make a change, right? One of the problems, I'm not a big fan of marches, to be honest, because to me they seem... Okay, you march, but then what else, right?
What's next?
Yeah, so one of the things we've been trying to do, tomorrow we'll have, we'll just share out some stationery and have people write down their suggestions, tell us what we can do to make solid changes. So after that, after we've gathered all the responses and so on, we'll figure out our next move from there, from the responses that we would have gotten, because we really need as much people as possible to... Before we actively do something, we need to hear the response from the wider society.
Yeah. I'm assuming that you would have to do fundraisers and so on to keep... Because, viewers, with everything, you need finance in fundraising to keep the group going.
Yes. Actually, we have not been doing any fundraising as yet. Most of it has been out of pocket, hence I am always so broke.
Well, don't worry. You'll be rewarded for that cause in due time, wherever the reward comes from, I'm sure.
Hopefully. But civil societies have been very helpful with regards to the march. Childing, they've donated stationery. I know Red Thread, Ms. Van der Ransdyk, very, very helpful woman. She's helped us secure PA system and platform for the march, so that's very good. But so far we've gotten a lot of support, and it was kind of overwhelming at first, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
Closer to it, and I'm sure at the end of it tomorrow, you will feel, satisfied. I myself will try my best to be a part of it, because I'm really passionate about this cause, and I just love what the group is doing. That is what caught my attention in the first place. Before I wrap up my conversation with you, just to remind the viewers to be a part of it tomorrow, the time, the place, and just the final thing.
Yeah, so finally again, 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, we march from Stabrook Square to Square of the Revolution, Coffee. Please be on time. March with us. I know there's some concerns about weather. We will be out there whether it's raining or not. Maybe just bring out your umbrella and let's go.
And anybody can be a part.
Anybody can be a part. Anybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Akola, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, viewers, if you're now joining us, you missed a great conversation. Those of you who follow me on social media, you'll be able to catch the entire conversation a little later on today or sometime tomorrow. Of course, because tomorrow is the march, I'll try my best to get the conversation up before the end of today. I was chatting with Miss Akola Thompson. She is the co-founder of Student Society Against Human Rights. Of course, this is Facing the Nation. Stay tuned. We'll have more of the program for you on the other side of this very quick break.